Majority of the talking to you.
Yeah. Okay. Whenever you're ready. Okay. Y'all ready? Okay. All right. So just before 6 p.m., we received multiple calls for shots fired here in the area of West 25th and Washington. Our officers arrived within about 2 to 3 minutes of the first call. When they arrived on scene, it was kind of chaotic. They saw several people outside running around, and they didn't find anyone initially on scene. A short time later, they had another call that there was a male who had sustained a gunshot wound down at the aquarium. When the officers down there was an officer working off-duty and an officer down there just in an off-duty capacity that detained that male. He's considered a person of interest right now in connection with this. We also had another male who arrived at Lutheran Hospital who sustained a gunshot wound, and another male who was at West 25th and Lorraine. At this point, all of the injuries are non-life-threatening. We do, like I said, have the person of interest involved in this. There's another person of interest that we are looking at and working to identify.
At this point, do you believe this was a shootout between two or more individuals?
We believe this was not intended to be the target for St. Malachi's or any of the staff here. So we do believe this was a shootout between two individuals, yes.
In the street or just...
If you could see from, the evidence markers, it did occur in the street area, yes.
Drive-by or...
There was a male who was on foot right in the area, and the other occupants were in a vehicle.
So wait, were the victims involved somehow, or were they involved in the act of shooting, or were they innocent victims?
So we do believe that one of the males who sustained a gunshot wound was part of this incident.
What about the other two?
We're still gathering that information at this time.
So one of the victims or one of the presumed suspects made it down to the aquarium from here, so they fled down to the aquarium, and then two other people were in a vehicle.
Correct, and we do have a firearm that was recovered in connection with that as well.
What type of firearm was it?
I don't know the model at this time. Do you have that?
Yeah, handguns and a larger caliber rifle type weapon.
Do you believe that was an AK-47?
No.
So there were multiple weapons found on
them? No, not found. We've only recovered one weapon so far, but there were multiple weapons used in this incident.
Based on what you're recovering, based on the
evidence,
evidence,
the shell casing.
The shell casings, correct.
Yeah.
But you actually recovered the handgun, correct?
We did.
And all three people who were presumed to be involved have been located?
Well, we don't know that all three that sustained the gunshot wounds are involved. We're still investigating that. We know at least one of those are involved in this. We believe one is involved in this. The other ones we're still actively investigating.
Is it possible you have two people just wrong place, wrong time, innocent bystanders and all this?
The investigation will tell us. So we're still actively investigating this. As you could see, we just completed the processing of the crime scene here. Also just, kind of reassuring the staff and the residents here that, everything is okay, trying to clear up their concerns right now.
We know they have dinner service here on Monday nights for people who are in need. Was this someone who was here for that meal? Was it people who knew each other in terms of...
At this point, we're not sure of that, so that's still part of our active investigation.
Do you believe this is tied to the church in any way at this point?
No, I don't believe there's anything to do with the church here.
But were the two people who were injured, minus the person of interest, were they inside of the church?
None of the shooting happened inside of the church. Everything occurred outside here on the street.
It does seem like there's a fairly large crime scene. If you walk up the hill, there's another entire area where you can see bullet holes in cars.
Right.
Was this only confined to this area, or was it more or
Well,
less?
if you could see, bullets travel. So when somebody's firing randomly, the other objects are getting struck, and there was multiple vehicles that were struck as a part of the shooting.
So on the other side of the church, multiple vehicles were struck with it. I didn't realize. Okay.
It's not on the other side of the church. It's just, if you look at the trajectory path of a bullet, it's traveling in the direction where it's shooting. So there were cars that were struck as part of this.
So would that have been kind of up over that way or down Washington?
Okay, kind of down that driveway alley way.
Okay. So the suspect made it to the museum, like on foot, in a car?
At this point, I don't know that we know
for sure. We don't know how he got there. When they encountered him, he was shot. When they detained him to render aid, they identified him as one of the suspects in this area.
Did he have a gun on him? Is that how it was recovered?
I'm not sure if it was on him or near him, but a weapon was recovered with his detainment.
At the museum?
The aquarium, yes.
At the aquarium.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. He made it. That's kind of crazy. I mean,
especially after being shot.
Yeah.
Kind of far.
Yeah, I mean, if you just down through the flats, it goes right to it. So
6 o'clock on a Monday evening, busy time around this part of the city. How dangerous of a situation was this?
it's very dangerous. Anytime that there's a shooting, it's very dangerous. So we're just, grateful that no one was, killed in the shooting, and we take these matters very serious. And, we have a lot of resources right now that are investigating this, and we will make sure that, we find the all involved in this and get this resolved.
What sort of resources are those?
So as you can see, we have a lot of our crime scene detectives are out here, as well as our second district, our detectives are out here as well.
and has this, do you know, I'm sorry, Chief, but did it impact the church at all, like in terms of they have to close, or any of the nearby businesses? Did any of them have to close? Or do you
I don't think anyone
know?
closed, but it's going to cause a scare. This is in broad daylight, and anyone who's out here who witnessed it or heard it, it's going to cause it's going to cause a scare to everyone. So we were just, our priority right now is reassuring the community to make sure that they understand that everything right now is considered, safe, and that they're okay to come back out.
And so we don't know if this is targeted yet.
Targeted towards a church?
No, targeted towards the individual who was outside the church.
So we're still trying to investigate that. We're investigating that as well.
Were any of the people standing outside the church, or were they just coming and going on Washington 25th?
Still trying to figure that out. So we're gathering video evidence right now, and that'll all be a part of the investigation.
You say it's safe here, but yet you have potentially one or more gunmen out there. How do you reconcile those two things?
So we don't feel that anything that happened here today is related to the people who use this church as one of their neighborhood resources. So we want to make sure that we can't control or everything that's going to happen. We want to give them the reassurance that we are here, and we're going to make sure we keep our increased patrols to make it as safe as we can for everyone who's out here.
You plan to increase patrols in this particular
Absolutely.
area? How long will those continue?
Until it's necessary. We're always going to be out here, and until the need is. So we'll work with them to make sure that they feel safe, and we'll keep talking with them as the time goes by, as the week goes by.
Were there a bunch of or were there multiple 911 calls like, oh my gosh, there's a shooting?
So I didn't hear any of them, but I did. I know there were multiple calls.
Like some people in the area heard the gunfire, they're calling 911.
I didn't get that far into it yet, so just came out.
There were more than 24 evidence markers. Do you believe more than 24, 30 plus rounds were fired here?
I didn't count them, to be honest with you. My concern was for the community members who are out here and just making sure that they felt safe.
Would typically those evidence markers each symbolize a round that was recovered?
Some sort of evidence. Yeah, they each symbolize some sort of evidence marker.
So this was a large-scale shootout?
I don't know that right now. So I haven't talked to the crime scene detectives on what they've recovered. But I think that's it.
Okay.
So
Okay,
Thank
Metro?
I think they're in Metro. I mean, usually that's our level 1 trauma center. So
Do you know where the various people were shot?
well, parts? No, I don't. I didn't get that.
Just non-life threatening is what we were told.
Yeah.
Okay.